So, if you haven't been paying attention in the Warzone community for the last week or so, there's a new leak that has everybody's in shambles right now, and that is the potential fate of Warzone 3 when Modern Warfare 4 drops. According to this tweet from Ghost of Hope, if Warzone 3 doesn't retain enough players, it could essentially be gone. The tweet mentions that Warzone 3 might not happen if they can't keep the players engaged. And this has a lot of the community freaking out. And honestly, even I'm not sure what it means. But here's my take on it based on past Call of Duty history and current trends. So, one thing is for sure, we've seen it past couple years, and that's Activision's focus right now is clearly on driving revenue, especially through microtransactions. And this means that they're more about making money than focusing purely on players' enjoyment, even if that's not the developer's intentions. So, what could happen next? We have a couple options. Option A, Warzone could just stop getting updates. If the game isn't performing well by the time Modern Warfare 4 releases, they might decide to stop adding new content but keep the servers running. So players would still be able to access whatever content is available, but there would be no longer new updates or seasonal content. This would result in longer matchmaking times and a lot of players eventually moving on to other games. But let's be real, many people are already doing that. Plus, we got a bunch of new games coming out, not to mention the huge release of GTA 6. Next option, option B, Warzone 3 might just shut down completely. So, if Modern Warfare 4 comes out and Warzone is not in a good state, they might just end up pulling the plug. And we've seen this happen with the other Call of Duty, like the Chinese versions. And while it's unlikely, it's still a possibility. However, considering how much money Warzone currently brings in, I don't think shutting it down entirely seems like the least likely scenario. Even when we transitioned from Warzone 1 to 2, they took Warzone 1's server offline for a bit when they launched the new one. And after a month or so, they bring back the servers for Warzone 1. So now, moving on to option C, option C is the one I want to see happen, is Warzone becomes its own standalone game. This is the option I want to see happen. If they separate Warzone from the yearly COD releases, they could focus entirely on Warzone and give it attention it needs without being tied to the multiplayer zombie sides of things. This would allow for more targeted updates and improvement for Warzone players without interfering from other studios like Treyarch or Infinity War. It would allow Warzone to evolve more freely, similar to other games like Fortnite and Apex Legends, and how their games evolved over time. And another good point to add is bugs would be less. As we've seen every time they implement a new COD, old bugs come back and new bugs are created. But we have option D, and this involves Warzone 3 being integrated into Modern Warfare 4. But how, like I was just saying, this could go terribly long. They need to be careful not to repeat the mistakes of what happened when Warzone 1 shut down and we transitioned to Warzone 2, which was a huge letdown for the community. And this route could also alienate players who still use old gen consoles, which could hurt the player base because Modern Warfare 4 will not be supporting old gen consoles. And this is definitely the riskiest of options. Ultimately, at the end of the day, their primary goal will be to maximize revenue for shareholders. While that's business as usual, it often does come at the expense of players' experience. And there's only so much they're willing to do to improve the game as long as it keeps them making money. As for what happens, my best case scenario would be that Verdansk returns in Season 3 and it's a huge success. And the game continues to be supported with seasonal content. This way, they don't try to drastically change things, and Warzone could follow the same path as the other games like Fortnite or PUBG, making steady updates without overhauling the whole system. But on the other hand, the worst case scenario would be Verdansk is like just a complete flop. If that happens, it might be just time to move on to other games. Luckily, there's a lot of good content that's coming out, like GTA 6, and I'm always playing multiple games in a week, so I know I won't be stuck. But regardless of what happens, I think Call of Duty has potential to thrive, but it all depends on how Activision handles things. If they prioritize the player base and get it right, I think Warzone can continue to be a strong part of the gaming scene. But we'll see how things go on April 3rd when the new season starts and Verdansk is back. But I don't think they're just gonna shut down Warzone completely. We got a few potential paths. It's just a matter of seeing which one Activision takes. I would now like to thank all of you guys for watching and subscribe. That would really make my day. I also hope you guys have a good day.